Gary Milne, and I work at Braid Barbers in Milton Keynes. I had a degree in music, which didn't do much for me. I was working for the NHS just to pay the bills, which I despised. Found barbering, went off, learnt it, and here I am. A friend suggested it to me because it was nothing to do with it, but he just thought I'd be good at it. So he was like, you never shut up. And I was like, yeah, I know. So he was like, oh, you could be a cab driver. I was like, I don't have a driving license. He suggested another one, and I was like, I can't do that. He's like, you could be a barber. I was like, yeah, I could be a barber. But I planted a little seed in my head. I started off on YouTube obsessively, all day, every day. And a friend of mine moved into my house with me, and he was a barber. So I apprenticed at his shop and learned nothing. But I'd looked up LSB, and I was already like, oh, that's sick. That was more of a barbershop than the barbershop I was apprenticing in. And I was just looking at it and I was like, that's what I want to do. I had an offer from a guy called Baldy, who you might know, who works in Aylesbury. Thanks, Baldy. He took me on Saturdays while I was still doing the course, and then took me on full-time the day after I graduated. And it was just a really now or never decision. My housemate at the time had started working at this barbershop that had just moved from another location called Braid Barbers. So I went on, checked them all out, and went over there, had a little chat, and decided to go work there. Since then, that shop's grown massively. I feel like I live at the shop I work in because I'm there more than any other place. Even when I'm going near it, I'm just like, let's go pop in quickly. 3 or 4 hours later, I've done a ton of haircuts. And most of our regular customers, even if I don't cut their hair, I still know them quite well because the shop's set up quite communally. You can kind of chat to everyone. So it literally just feels like I hang out with my friends all day and I get paid quite good money to do it. It kind of felt like it was kind of like a tick off, like the bucket list. When I was studying, I was like, I'm going to come back here one day. I was like, I'm going to be a judge. Thought it'd take me longer than it did, and it was weird because I went back to the same place where I was learning. It was like nothing changed, and it kind of made me feel the same as I did when I first went there. So I kind of felt like, oh yeah, this is cool. Amazing. They've really elevated the teaching since I went. There's loads more techniques. There's loads of stuff that I sort of thought were like secrets that were passed on to me from other barbers, and it was like, oh, why didn't they teach this at LSB? And then I came back and all the students just had all the techniques down. I was like, wow. It's the only way to do it. If you teach someone any other way, then by the time they go to a barbershop, they're not taught yet. They're just going to be stuck in a barbershop to learn what they learn at LSB. Sick. Yeah, really cool. They don't act like teachers. They act like barbers, which, especially for someone who's not been in a barbershop environment working before, it kind of their first exposure to it, they are acting like a barber would act rather than taking themselves too seriously. You want it to be light-hearted and friendly rather than too cold and clinical. So the fact that all the educators are just quite fun, very welcoming, very warm, that just makes all the other students act the same way.